But we'll now head back to you, I mean, on X, where you've been talking to us. Coyote joins me to bring you all of that detail. Coyote.
Oh, yes, Jeffrey. Let's just run through all of the things you're saying this morning. Quite a busy one, absolutely. And we'll begin with the CBN raising interest rates by 150 basis points to 26.5%. And this is coming amid soaring inflation levels. There's been a lot of back and forth. Should we raise? Should we hold? Should we reduce the inflation rate, or rather the interest rate? Now we've seen the decision that has been made. So the first reaction we're getting on this is from any lower or any lower, depending on the amion that is on it. It's not right here, but this is the reaction. Unfortunately, this will not help to control inflation. That's what this user thinks. However, Nigeria will experience an increase in non-performing loans, that's NPLs, leading to further erosion of our purchasing power. And this particular one ends by saying, our economists, this solution is not solution. It's quite tricky what the CBN's monetary policy committee is faced with. Whatever decision you make naturally would get a lot of reaction. So you're left with the option of not doing anything, and then people say, oh, you could have done something. Or you do something, and people are saying, no, you shouldn't have done something. It's really a tricky one. But
I think it's an argument about diagnosis. What exactly is pushing it? Is this cost push, demand pull, or a hybrid of both?
Yeah.
But apparently they are trying to mop up as much as possible. But to taper this is a stagflation, literally, in my view. But economists, experts will be able to say exactly what this is. But these numbers have to come down. It's not looking funny, especially food inflation. But let's find out what Damilare Odulesi is saying. Yeah. How much will commercial banks raise their rate, I guess, onto loans? Access Bank currently charges 7% interest per month on a 12-month loan. Aside the main capital repayment is about 55% in total. Maybe commercial banks will raise theirs to about 80% interest rate per annum.
That's a conversation we need to sit down to have, really. We need to have that one. But the next one is from Great Olasoji 1, and essentially this talks about the question you've raised, Jeffrey. One of the things driving the cost of goods in this country. This user believes it's interest rate on loan. Most businesses in this country are running on loan. Every small business owner is relying on loan. This will definitely increase their prices. Ends with a prayer. God bless Nigeria.
All right, Colin Sapara says, how much more suffering do they want to inflict on ordinary Nigerians? I wanted to see that. Okay. Instead of providing relief and solutions, they are making it harder for businesses and individuals to survive. This decision is a slap in the face for every hard-working citizens struggling to make ends meet or more. Okay.
Just to give you a peek into how the Monetary Policy Committee works, they get to vote, each of them. So it's not a decision by the CBN governor, and that's not even making a case for him. So each of them vote, and eventually the majority should carry the day.
Even if it's by one.
Exactly. So that's what's happening behind the scenes with this one. The man Zaman says, we understand this is the natural reaction, but he believes, or she believes, that the cause of this inflation is on the supply side. So what do you do then? I think it will be important to see those solutions coming through. Believes that this increase will worsen the fiscal side and does not align with the monetary, if it does not align with the monetary side.
In fairness, or in truth, the truth is that they are faced with a dilemma between FX accretion, more like getting as much foreign exchange as possible. So when you increase interest rate, naturally foreigners will come and put in their money because of interest rate. But it's going to be killing the local production because manufacturers have to borrow at higher interest to be able to run business, and that will push the price on all of us who are consumers. So it's a quagmire. Merck says inflation is driven by food supply, not excess money supply. Inflation, okay, he said it like 3 times. When will they learn? Okay, that's the diagnosis we're talking about. There's even a debate as to what is driving it. It feels like a hybrid, because some people are saying it's this, others are saying it's that. But let's move on now.
Absolutely. So let's turn our attention to the other side of things. I'll just call it the monetary side because it concerns money, right? Just pardon me to do that. And
this is the fiscal side.
You know, we just talked on the fiscal side rather. And this is about the negotiation between Labour and the federal government. We touched on that earlier on. So from 48,000 naira, that's the counter offer the federal government gave last week. The government has since increased it to 54,000 naira. If you do the math, it's a far cry from what Labour put on the table originally, but of course Labour knew that that wasn't going to be the case. So this first one is from Ituma Sonny. Says both. But in this case, I think it's 3 because it's a tripartite committee, but we get the point. They should try and reach a point that will be acceptable to all. 615,000 naira is definitely not going to be achievable, but 54,000 naira proposed by government is rather embarrassing. So take a look at what this user is proposing. So this is a quadrupite committee now. 150 to 200,000 naira should be fair enough.
The government will say, where will we get the money to pay? Okay. Precious says, what can 55,000 naira buy? How can it be less than the price of a bag of rice in Nigeria? When it comes to what people will benefit from, they will hold meetings upon meetings. Well, it's called collective bargaining. Just this evening, you guys increased interest rates without any consideration, no noise.
You know, bag of rice is really making the rounds, really. And this next user references it again. Ebuka NW figures says 98 billion for
90
Hajj,
billion.
90 billion rather for Hajj, 10 billion for National Assembly car park, and 54,000 naira for workers that are making the money that they are looting, according to this user. Asks, can he buy a bag of rice? Can it feed a family of 4 comfortably? Those are the questions being asked and essentially putting it out there.
Javin, you said there's David Javin. He said if we're talking about living wage, then 100,000 naira is fair enough. I hope you know that in this conversation that happened yesterday, the governors were not there. So we hope that the governors will be there because that's another kettle of fish
entirely
altogether. Kaide, you have the next one.
Oh, yes. And this one is from Lala Usiju. Says, but Labour, too, should be more realistic and go for what FG will consider. Okay. We know, this user says that 600 is essentially good, but not feasible at all.
Well, there's a lot you've been talking about, including the police officers, retired police officers. It's quite disheartening to see these men and women protesting. They served Nigeria for at least 35 years. Having them to come out to demand for what is their right is quite painful. And we hope that the government will do something as quickly as possible because putting their lives on the line, essentially, is not a joke. Not many people will do it. That's why we give them the respect and the honor and everything we give to them. The next thing that Nigeria has to do for them is to make their living condition a little better.
And the danger, Jeffrey, is the fact that the current police officers serving right now are watching.
They're watching.
And they're thinking, what will be my case when I retire? So it's important to ensure that we fix this so we don't send the wrong messaging to the ones still in service.
So we thank all our servicemen for their service. And, well, those are the ones we've been tracking for now. Keep that conversation coming. We'll take this quick break. When we come back, we'll start the conversation for the day. Join us again.
Absolutely.